Now let's look at the lineups for Heat 2A. Mr. Pringles, driven by Scott Pierce, owned by Bill Wooster. Jim Harvey's Oh Boy Alberto. After blowing an engine, they've replaced it. George Woods will drive. Steve David will try again in the Arc Construction boat. From the state of Washington, Mitch Evans will drive the Cairo Choice. The Holt sent Miss Madison to be driven by Mike Hansen. These drivers and their boats are ready for the start of Heat 2A, and we'll have it for you in just a moment. Jim Hendrick along with Dick Crippen back here at Evansville, Indiana on the Ohio River. And Dick, we're all set to go with Heat 2A.
We are, and the boats are coming around the final turn. Lane number 1 is the Pringles. Lane number 2, Cairo Choice. Lane 3, George Woods Jr. and Oh Boy Alberto. Arc Construction in lane 4 and lane 5. Holson, Miss Madison all the way to the outside. Here they come. They pull the white flag in. There's the start of the race. Look at that shot as they lay the chalk lines down with the rooster tails from these huge unlimited hydroplanes. They throw the boats hard into the turn, and let's watch them as they come out with Mr. Pringles in front.
Mr. Pringles, a turbine boat, should have no problems in this heat, and a lot of people say with the reciprocated engines they can't keep up with the turbines. Why do they race? Well, I think they race, Dick, because someday they want to be a turbine powered team. But you know what? Not everybody thinks that. There's some that believe in automotive power. They're developing new boats right now. One will join us in San Diego this year for the last 2 races. They think a light haul, twin automotive power engines is the way to go. Everybody has their own idea. That's why it's called unlimited. Do what you want in the engine department.
And we're seeing more and more development coming into the sport every day, which has made it so exciting over the past couple of years. Oh Boy Alberto closing on the outside. He is trying to catch the Jiff Presents Mr. Pringles, 126.760 miles per hour by our Zenith data system computer in the first lap for Scotty Pierce. But as we said, right behind him, George Woods is trying to close him down. Now, George is driving one of those reciprocating engines, but he's had very good luck with it, except in the first heat today when he blew it out.
Well, prior to the introduction of turbines, the Rolls Merlin or the Rolls Griffin was supreme in unlimited hydroplane racing. That boat, of course, is traveling so fast. A whole set, Miss Madison. They've developed a Turbo Allison to the point where they're holding the records. In a few years ago, you'd have to look at these boats as the leaders.
Turbine power is where it's at right now, they say, and certainly in this heat, turbine power is proving the master. Scotty Pierce coming out of the final turn, completing lap number 2, still in the lead, still a possible challenge from George Woods Jr. and Oh Boy Alberto. Cairo Choice back in third, and again the battle is on for third place. On the outside, the Holson Miss Madison. Mike Hansen out of the Seattle, Washington area, battling Mitch Evans inside. Right now, Mitch has third place, but just by a little over a boat length. So again, one of those backpack battles is developing here on the Ohio River. We take a look at our leader, the multicolored Jiff Presents Mr. Pringles. A good ride this time for Scott Pierce, who had it rough up in Detroit when he went up and over.
Yes, but he's survived, and of course he broke a little bone in his foot, and he has a special brace. He said the last race in Madison, it really hurt him. It feels much improved now, and he's driving accordingly.
That's one of those injuries that is not real major, but it is very, very painful for him. And the vibration of the boat and some of the pressure that he had to exert on that ankle was hurting him. And what a lot of people didn't realize was when he went, oh, no, more bad luck for George Woods Jr., Oh Boy Alberto, down in a race for the second time today. To continue my thought on Scott Pierce, a lot of people didn't realize when his boat went over in Detroit, the water rushed up through the hatch in the bottom of the boat, which is there as an escape hatch in case it's upside down in the water. And when the water rushed in, it was with such power, it forced his knee back hard and actually tore some ligaments in the knee. So he's got to wear a special brace there to get the power into his knee so he can drive the hydroplane.
Currently now second place held by Holset Miss Madison Mike Hansen. And as I said, he holds the records now for reciprocated engines in speed and average time, in qualifying and in competition laps.
Jim, I don't want to lie to anybody. This is not a great race to watch. It obviously is a choo-choo train type of race, but it's also a setup because we only have one turbine in this particular race. We have all of the other turbines coming up in the next race, and then, of course, this one will be combined with everybody else in the final heat, so it's a setup, if you will. Scotty Pierce is again, like Larry Lauterbach in the last heat, backing off it. He doesn't want to give too much away. He's going to find out how the water conditions affect his boat. He's going to take a ride out there, take as many lessons as he can from the river.
Of the 5 turbines in this field, only 1 drew Heat 2A. 4 will go head-to-head in Heat 2B. As we said earlier, that's the luck of the draw.
And that's what's going to lead us to the final heat later on today, and that should be a barn burner, to put it mildly.
400 points for first, 300 for second, 225 for third. That's the way they go in elimination heat action. The 5 fastest boats, the 5 with the most points, are the only ones that run for the money in the final. That's why they're racing here in these positions at this present time.
And that's why the points are so important. And so Mike Hansen, who you just looked at there, already has a second place today, and he'd like to make it another second place if he can. He's holding on to it at the moment. Here's your leader, though. This is the man going for 400 points in this race, Scott Pierce.
I met him when he was 9 years old. His father was Laird Pierce. He owned a couple of race boats. One was called the Parco O-Ring Miss. His father, Laird, has passed away since then, and he's taken over. And, of course, his mother worries every time the kid's out in the boat.
Well, she has no worries this time. You saw the checkered flag in the corner of your screen. It is waving for the multicolored. Jiff presents Mr. Pringles. Scotty Pierce with a win on the day in Heat 2A. A fine drive for him, and I think he took some lessons from the river. Second place goes to a favorite here in Evansville, Indiana, the Hulsett Miss Madison. Mike Hansen, driving out of the state of Washington, doing a good job, having a good run on the day today.
And third place will go to Steve David at Arc Construction. 3 boats did not finish. Oh boy, Alberto, Sundeck, and Cairo Choice. They had engine problems. The attrition rate in this heat, 50%.
Let's take a look now at our results officially for Heat 2A. The winner, Mr. Pringles, Miss Madison, Hulsett Miss Madison, U6 second, Arc Construction third. Oh boy, Alberto, and Cairo Choice did not finish the race.
4 turbines go head-to-head in upcoming action on Heat 2B. We'll have it for you in a moment. Thousands of people are lining the river here at Evansville, Indiana. I'm Jim Hendrick along with Dick Crippen. The winner of Heat 2A, Scotty Pierce. Let's go down to the pit area now, and here's Dick.
Well, Scott, I think you had to be the favorite going in on that race, but they pushed you a little bit on the first turn.
Yeah, the Alberto beat us last week, I'm sure you recall. So I didn't take them lightly. I wanted the inside on them, and I wanted a good start, and I got all that. And once we got to the first turn, is pretty much sayonara.
Okay, everybody was saying that first turn, though, is not the place to be pushed because it is some wild water down there.
It's real wild, but it's nothing like Madison. To me, it's almost like a glass pond compared to what I just came from. So I'm not complaining at all. I'm happy.
I think everybody's got to be concerned. Are all the braces and the bandages and all that working all right?
They are. I'm not getting near the beating I got last week, of course, but I'm hanging in there real good physically, and I'm driving 5 hard laps, and that was something I wasn't able to do last week, and I'm real proud to be able to do it this week for Pringles.
Well, now you got a chance to psych yourself up for what lies ahead.
Yeah, we're going to have a humdinger in the final, I'm sure, but we'll give everything we got.
10 races every season, different cities. Organizations put these races on, and here's a fine organization that puts this race on every year, led, of course, by the executive director, Jan Turbach. Thousands and thousands of hours, most of them volunteers.